Well, I think this has to be a first on my channel in about 6 years of making these videos that you guys have seen me in a jacket. And it's warranted. It's actually cold enough here. It's like 56 degrees out here today in Mill Valley. And today I'm walking down Walnut Avenue. And today I want to cover some obvious signs that the economy is in a free fall right now, because typically whenever we see these indicators in the past, we are always in some level of recession. The first one is the cardboard box production. Obviously, cardboard boxes are the backbone of the consumer economy. The more cardboard boxes are being produced, then the more things people are buying in general. And so when cardboard box production slows down, it's a sign that people are expected to buy less in the coming months. And lo and behold, cardboard box production is down right now. This is giving off the signal that retailers are expecting fewer products to sell, so the distributors are not ordering as many boxes. In fact, box makers have shut down several of their factories this year already and are reducing capacity on the ones that are still up and running. Obviously, a lot of people have less spending power right now as inflation is taking a grip over people's finances, and so they're just not buying as much as they're expected to. And here's the thing, even though consumer spending is technically up as of August of 2025, we have to remember that it's mainly the richest Americans that are powering that sector of the economy. You know, it is a known fact ever since about a year ago at least that the top 10% of the richest of Americans are literally powering 50% of the spending in all of the US economy right now. So what 10% of the people are doing is not really a great indicator of what's going to happen throughout the general economy. The second sign that we can take a look at is Hamburger Helper is making a comeback. What do I mean? Well, the sales of Hamburger Helper have bumped up significantly this year, according to Eagle Foods, as people seek out better deals on groceries. I can say with confidence I've never had Hamburger Helper. I don't even really know what it is. But apparently it's like a packaged pasta dish with seasonings that you combine with ground beef, and it makes it a more hearty and filling and calorically rich meal. A lot of people even call it a struggle meal. I always thought the struggle meal was ramen noodles. They don't even have any meat in there. At least Hamburger Helper, you're getting some beef. Also, I remember covering a couple of months back that frozen pizza sales are also on the rise because people are trying to save money eating at home, and they're not eating out and ordering pizza as much from the pizza restaurants. They're buying the frozen pizzas at home. You even have a lot of higher income shoppers shopping at more discount stores now, like Aldi and Walmart, to buy their groceries in order to save money, guys. Like, everybody is looking to cut corners right now and save a little extra cash, because why not? You know, if you can buy the same thing at another store for less money, then to me that's a no-brainer when things are not good. The next thing we can take a look at is the sales of big trucks have been in a slump. And I'm talking about semi-trucks. And this is a big warning sign that industrial activity could be slowing down right now. A steep drop-off in sales of these trucks usually precedes recessions. Usually being the key word, right? But if our government data never officially shows that we're in a recession, well, I guess everything must be fine, right? Also, another thing that could be helping the sales slowdown of the big semi-trucks is anything that's imported. Any imported semi-trucks right now are being hit with a 25% tariff. The next sign is people are going back to thrifting, meaning that people are looking for deals anywhere that they can get them, particularly at thrift stores. There is an app called ThredUp where people can sell their used clothing, and they reported a 16% boost in sales during the second quarter of the year. A lot of people use this to buy secondhand designer clothes or normally very expensive items that they can get at a discount because somebody else doesn't want it anymore. And think about it from the other side of things too. When somebody sells on one of these websites, it's also a way for them to make a little bit of extra cash in tough times. So this is really just an obvious sign that consumers are really getting more savvy about where they spend their money and where they don't. And if you are going to buy some kind of luxury good or designer clothing, then it might make sense to buy it used right now. And to me, one of the biggest signs that things are weak right now with the economy is the job hopping has come to an end. In fact, a lot of people feel stuck at the job that they're in right now and are kind of terrified of losing it because they've seen what's happened to a lot of people who have lost a job recently. Good luck getting another one. In fact, the rate of people quitting their job in 2025 is at the lowest level that we have seen since 2020, when pretty much nobody could get a job. In fact, the job switch and the job quitting rate is one of the practical indicators we have of how well the economy is doing, because not only are people more confident that they'll be able to land another job if they do switch jobs, but also it's the best way for workers to get better pay and better benefits and kind of move up in the world and get the best position that they can. But if people stop switching jobs, then they get stale, their pay stagnates, and also a lot of times they become disposable to their company anyhow and end up losing the job. Loyalty in the workplace is no longer rewarded like it was in the past, unfortunately. Now, this next sign is a big one that people are completely out of money, guys, and that is that home equity loans have been going up in 2025. In fact, home equity loan originations jumped 12% during the first quarter of 2025, and we know that about 50% of those home equity loans are people doing cash out refinances, people who are pulling money out of their house to do whatever with. People say it's a home renovation, but a lot of times it's debt consolidation and borrowing because you're overextending yourself and living beyond your means, and then people use their house to pay for that. Personally, I can't think of any one good reason to borrow money against your primary residence unless you absolutely need to. And unfortunately, I think that's the situation that so many are in, especially when you see that the average monthly payment for these cash out refinances is rising about $500 a month. Like, who would voluntarily be paying $500 more per month on their mortgage just to get this cash? Like, how bad do you need it? You know, and if you can afford an extra $500 a month on your mortgage, why don't you just have the money already saved up for whatever it is you need? You know, it really doesn't math out.